Hey, welcome to People Think About It. We welcome you guys back once again to People Think About It. We're going to have a little interesting subject matter today, and we're calling this topic Empty Words. Empty words is meaning about, do you have people to tell you things that don't uphold to what they say? Have you been in relationships and been made promises and the words come back empty, or you've been in a job situation, and how does it make you feel emotionally and mentally and physically, and how does it take its wear and tear on you? So we're going to talk a little bit about today about empty words. When people say things that they can't uphold to, and they say these things, I think not so much for themselves, but they call themselves making you feel better.
Right.
And that's what makes the words empty, because the words aren't sincere,
Right.
or the words come back to the point that
But they lying.
it could be a lie, or it could be that they're not sincere about what
Right.
they're saying.
Or they can be love bombing, because that's
Yeah.
the thing now.
Yeah,
you
that is true.
gaslighting, you love bombing.
Yeah, to get you back in good graces.
Right.
It's just like I've known people that were in relationships and knew that the relationship was toxic or what have you, and like you said, the person is just saying things to get back in, or in the beginning they were saying things to make you feel so grand and up high, and all the time they was just trying to work their way in for whatever reason. So let's get involved in this on how these empty words make you feel, and what do you think about empty words?
Okay, so I guess for me, when we say empty words, I automatically, I guess, would say it's just another form of manipulation, right? Because I know that, okay, I'm going to tell whoever, we're going to use Bob as an example. I'm going to say, okay, yeah, Bob, I'm going to make sure that I get your haircut every week, Bob. And knowing that I'm not going to do that for Bob, but I might do it once just to kind of get his feet wet, to make him feel like I'm going to do it. But then in turn, whatever I'm looking to get back from Bob, now I'm not going to do it anymore. So I feel like it's a form of manipulation when you tell somebody you're going to do something. Now, my thing is, it's been times where I'm sure we've all said something to someone and maybe we couldn't hold that up, and not because we didn't want to or we was love bombing or trying to manipulate. Maybe it came down to a financial situation where I couldn't. At that point, I feel like, especially when you're in a relationship and there's responsibilities that play a part, you need to be honest and open about, I know I said I was going to do this, but this is what happened.
Right.
I feel like don't make open promises anyway. Unless you are for sure that you can do it, just don't make any. But if you're gonna do it and you're not able to, then just voice that, say that. Because for me personally, I have that is like one of my things in a relationship. If you tell me you're gonna do something, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Right.
And when you don't do it, I feel like I can't trust you anymore. And if it becomes a constant, then I'm always going to look at you side-eye, because I'm going to feel like you're never going to do what you say you're going to do.
Right, and that's one of the things that when you're talking about empty words, that the empty words take away the trust factor. That the empty words take away, do I believe you? The empty words take away the sincerity of the relationship, and then it becomes challenging. The whole relationship, that when you speak in these empty words, and then someone sits back and they do something, and honestly they could have, been in a position they didn't mean to do it, or you got into an argument or stuff, and their apology is sincere, but they've given you so many empty words, and they've done the same thing over and over again, that these empty words mean nothing. You sit there and they look for an apology, or they sit back and say, hey, I'm being sincere, don't, please forgive me and everything. But when you keep doing the same thing repetitively over and over and over, then your words, it's like the boy that cried wolf.
Right.
He kept crying wolf, and one day the wolf came, and nobody was there to help him. So, when you're talking about things and people making promises, because I think that we, as from a human nature, when people make us promises, we really look forward to that promise. And when you come back empty, you not only destroyed yourself, you destroyed the other person.
Right.
So, but What do you feel, Miss Dorshell, about empty words?
Again, just like Dominique said, if you can't do it, just say, you know what, I thought I could do it. I mean, I can just say, for an example, like I'm working out now more often, and I am like hurting today. I mean, my feet hurt, my back hurt, my arms hurt, everything hurts today. But I did say out of my mouth that I was going to do it 3 times a week, and I was going to work hard at it. But then the first couple of days it was easy, but the third day I laid down, didn't get up and do it. So I felt like I let myself down. It wasn't necessarily letting somebody else down, but I did share that with Lamar that I was going to get up and do it. And the first couple of days I was doing it. The third day I got tired. The fourth day I am sore too. Today I am super sore. But I can also say I thought I could do it. You know, I can also apologize to myself for not upholding to what I decided to do. But again, get back on track. Just do, try to be as consistent as possible. If somebody invite me out and say, hey, I want to meet you on Friday, we're going to do brunch, but then they never call you on Friday.
Right.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So that's some empty words.
Definitely. And then don't call me next week and say you're going to do it again.
Right.
Then now I'm not.
Right.
Now you are playing. You are, but as Lamar said, you're doing the wolf thing.
You're crying wolf.
You're crying wolf because now I'm looking forward. I've put my money to the side. I'm looking forward to hanging out and I'm enjoying a good time with that person, and then they cancel, or they don't even cancel. They just don't even show up.
But one of the things that you did say that even when you speak in empty words, you can speak empty words to yourself. You know, like you say, you told yourself, hey, I'm going to exercise this amount of days and do this and do that. And when it got to the point I got so sore, or the thing, if you start becoming a challenge, you started speaking empty words to yourself because, whether you want to use the terminology lie, you lied to yourself or what have you. One of the things is I don't think empty words is necessarily you lying. Is that you're saying something that's not meaningful, that you're approaching another person and try to install that positivity into another person, but you're saying it, like you said, only for a motive. So what is your motive? I'd rather know the motive, and we can deal with the motive, and the motive is the truth.
Right.
So if we can deal with the motive bring about the truth, we deal with the truth, then we no longer have empty words.
Right.
Because you know not to come at me like that. You know not to set back and I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want you to tell me the truth.
Exactly.
Well, you just sat here and just said that it's not necessarily a lie. Well, then how does truth come into it?
Well, what I mean by it's not necessarily a lie is that you can do something to a person and sincerely, the apology is sincere, but what makes it a lie is that it happened so many times that the truth becomes a lie. The truth, because only you know whether you're sincere about what you told me. Only you know, hey, if I'm apologizing, am I apologizing for a motive? Am I apologizing because I really realize I messed up? Only you know that. But when it comes to the other person, and they don't see that sincerity, then it becomes empty words to them. That's what I mean.
So in a relationship, if somebody says, I promise I'll never lie to you, but they lie. Then the next thing happens, they lie. Then the next thing happens, they lie. They lied again. And then you know that they lied, and they lied again. Then what? Should you continue that relationship with that person? Because they're continuously lying.
But then, the thing that I can say about relationships is that you have to make that choice whether you want to deal with that lie or not. Because if you know who they are, then if you choose to stay, then you know that to expect. I'm dealing with a liar. So again, it goes back to those empty words. I don't know what to believe. So it goes back that you may be sincere in some of the things that you're saying, but because you lied, it goes to empty words now. Now, I have to make that decision. Do I still want to stay in this relationship? Because, hey, maybe they really meant that this time. Or, are they still lying? Because a lot of people stay in relationships that have empty words, and it's because Some people say they love the person because I believe that you can love somebody and somebody not necessarily love you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or you're just comfortable in that relationship,
right?
And then you didn't got to know that person where it's just like, yeah, dating is too hard these days, and I'm not doing all that. So I know you. I know you going to lie a little bit here and there. I know you going to yell, whatever. I know you.
That's right. I'd rather deal with the devil I do know than the devil I don't.
Exactly. So. And I personally don't agree with that. I feel like it's better. It's better somewhere out there. I don't feel like you have to settle for anything, especially if you know what you deserve and what's your worth. So for me personally, I just had to figure out the devil I don't know.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm it's like I say, when it comes to relationships, especially when you're on the outside looking in, you can have all these suggestions and all this positive energy that you can put on it, but then you see someone give you all that energy, and then they're in the same position you're in. And then you're saying, well, you're giving me all this energy. Where is your energy for you
your
to walk?
situation?
Right. And like you say, it go back to people get into a position that they're comfortable.
Right.
And when you're comfortable, you tolerate certain things. You sit back and you deal with the liar. You deal with the empty words. You deal with, I don't know whether I'm going or coming.
Right.
Hey, if it's a good day, I'm going to enjoy the good day. If it's a bad day, I'm going to go do whatever I do.
Right.
It's the ups and downs. And, when we have these discussions, it's always a different perspective from a married perspective to I'm dating somebody, because I feel like in a situation where you're dating, I don't care whether you dated 2, 3, 5 years. If you're not married and committed, you can walk away from that and don't have the things to deal with like you do in a marriage situation. Because in a marriage situation, they say for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, right? So when you're in that marriage situation and you're getting these empty words, you have to figure out a way to work that thing through. I
don't know. I have to disagree on that. I say I disagree because I don't care whether you dating somebody or whether you married. What's more important to you, them and trying to figure it out, or your peace? Your peace, your dignity, your integrity, what's more important? So I feel like personally, I know we may have vowed to God, but I'm not going through it. I'm not going to let nobody put me through nothing that I feel like doesn't make sense for me. That's me personally. And again, I'm not married, but I just know me as a person, I'm just not tolerating. Like, I'm going to work through it as much as I can, but once I feel like I've done it, I'm not doing it.
And that's what I'm saying, that you only know your limit.
Right.
Only you know that limit. A person can't set up and say, hey, leave that situation. You know what? A person can't set up and say, or the famous line, if it was me, I would do this, or if it was me. But if it was you would be doing what I do, because if it was you, you would be me.
And I feel like too, it depends on what you have invested in that relationship or that marriage, right? Because 9 times out of 10, you're married, you got houses, you got kids. It's a lot of stuff that come into play. Somebody may be paying for the majority, and I have a friend, and me and her talk all the time, and for me, because I speak from a different place, I'm like, why are you staying in this marriage? She's like, well, I have 3 kids. He pays everything. I don't, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I respect that, but I guess me starting my life as a single mother, my outlook is different. It's like, I got to get my kid and I got to figure it out. I'm not, the infidelity, the lying, and all that kind of stuff. It's just not ideal for me, and maybe that's my limit. The open promises, the things that you say you're going to do that you're not going to do, things that you say you're going to change that you're not going to change or not even trying to work on. I'm just not settling for that. Whether, if I was in her situation, I told her the same thing that I would say here. 3 kids, 1 kid, a dog, a cat, I don't care. I'm going to figure it out. So yeah, like you said, it is based upon what your limit is, and I get it. When you're tied up in different stuff within your relationship, you have to move a little differently. But for me, I'm planning to escape, so I'm figuring it out.
It's just like when we speak of these empty words of people using the word "I love you." I think a lot of people use the word "I love you" so loosely. You know, I mean, you see entertainers do it, you see athletes do it, you see you see people in church do it, you see people in the grocery store. No matter where you go, you can meet somebody and they say, "Girl, I love you," or "Man, I love you," but you don't even know me.
Right.
But they use that word so loosely, and you know, when it comes to that empty words, I always look at it like that too. Don't tell me you love me and you really don't even know who I am.
All right.
You know, don't be in a relationship with me and tell me you love me, but you keep doing damaging things to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the sincerity goes away, and I'm a big advocate of the more you share that emptiness, the more you keep doing the things that you say you're not going to do, creates distance.
Right.
And when that distance is created and you're the person that want to work on bringing it back together, I think it's a little hard to bring it back together because you set back and you have done so much collateral damage and so much emptiness that the person, like you say, you don't know. In their mind, they may be plotting a way out.
Right.
And then their way out is close, you know, so in their way out is close, and all those things that you tell them and those empty words you give them, it don't mean anything to them.
Or it's just more fuel for them to be like, yeah, time for me to go.
Yeah, because it's still going. It's still going. And that's why I always say to people, you know, when you tell somebody that you love them, and I totally believe in agape type love, godly love, is unconditional. You know, good, bad, or in between, because like I said, you can learn to love a person from a distance. You don't necessarily have to be around them every day. You don't necessarily have to talk to them every day.
Right.
But it's agape type love. So I think that saying in love, you can be out of love. Yeah. But I think if you say love, you know, like your child, most people love their children unconditionally, good, bad, or in between.
Right.
And then what happens is we deal with so much of this corruption, of mental corruption, that as we grow older and become wiser and stuff like that, our love becomes conditional. You know, so you look at a person differently, you talk to them differently, you handle them differently, and like I say, a lot of this emptiness that goes on, you look at it from a different perspective. But you don't want to sit there and tell your child that you're going to do something and not come through with it.
Right.
But even with your person that's in your life, if you're not happy, I mean, because my first relationship, my first husband told me he wasn't happy. And I was like, your happiness is not my issue. You got to make your own happiness.
Right.
And then it ended up we didn't stay together because we had problems. But again, at that time, that could have been a great gateway for him to share why he wasn't happy. You got to tell people why you don't love them no more. You know what? I don't feel this anymore. I don't feel the woo that I used to feel when I was with you. You don't make me feel safe anymore. So I'm not giving you what I used to give you.
Right.
And then instead of not giving it to him, just tell him.
Right.
Because, I mean, and that goes with, I'm not going to come, Dorshell, I'm going to be in town on Friday. Let's go and meet up. And you don't meet up with me. Right. Well, just call me and tell me.
Right.
Hey,
just respect me
respectfully,
as a person.
just say, hey, something else came up. I had a better offer, or something else came up, and I got something else to do. But don't let the person that you keep telling you love them try to figure out, well, it doesn't feel like love no more. Right. Well, and so now I'm not happy, so guess what? You're not going to get the same person that I used to be. Well, I'm not going to get it anymore.
Happy derives from happen, and most people are only happy because of what's happening. So that's where it derives from. But even the same thing, even going off of what you said, I think what a lot of people miss in relationships is growth. And what I mean by in relationship, you miss growth because you go through the courting stage, you go through the newlywed stage, you go through the marriage stage. Now you're going through the real life stage. And when you're going through these different stages, like you say, hey, when we met, there was no children involved. When we met, we didn't have no home or anything like that together. So I think there's dynamics, things in life that changes the way you feel about somebody, the way you look at somebody, the way you perceive somebody. You know, as we go on through life, people, we put on a little weight, you know, and then people look at us differently. You know, you'll be, hey, how I look, and, you know, they give you these empty words that instead of, like you say, Dorshell, instead of telling you the truth, hey, you know what? You have to find a way to say, hey, I think you're putting on a little weight, or you have to find a way to say, hey, you're doing this. Or like you said, Dorshell, you have to find a way to say, tell me why you unhappy. You have to find a way to tell a person, but also in the midst of you telling a person that, or a person sharing with you why they're unhappy, you have to be able to want to receive and understand why they're unhappy. And then you have to say to yourself, are you willing to change that?
And you know, going back, Dominique, to your friend saying she didn't have anything, and she, you know, she wasn't paying, you know, he paid all the bills or whatever, and so she felt like she had to stay. You know, in my situation, I felt like I had to stay because I had kids, I had a huge home, I had a lot of things going on, and I thought that I had to stay. But then I didn't. But once you get out there, you'll find out that there is somebody out there for you.
I agree.
So I would not say automatically leave. Yeah, I was afraid of leaving.
So
But
were there a lot of empty words shared at that time?
There was no words shared. We never even had a conversation about why we got a divorce. Never ever had a conversation about it. If that person is feeling like they're not valued in that relationship, move on. And I agree with just move on, because life is, I have witnessed that life is way too short to be hanging around people who don't really value you as a person.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could be friends, it could be your work people.
Of course. It can be anybody.
It could be your tribe. If they're not valuing who you are and what you bring to the table, go. Because guess what? Somebody out there is looking at you and saying, if only I had.
You're right.
I mean, and for an example, there are women who are, you know, have things about them that they don't like, which another woman is like, man, I wish I had that. Right? So I would never cut myself short of saying, you know what, I'm going to stay in this relationship because I don't feel like there's nobody else out there for me. Because there's somebody that's like waiting to say, girl, I got you.
Right.
So I don't, and then I'm talking about even friends who bail out on you on an actual dinner date. Guess what? There's somebody who would want to hang out with me. So okay, fine.
Sure.
I missed that appointment, but I got another one.
So how does those empty words affect you? How does it make you feel?
Well, it makes me move on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be hurt, and I don't want to.
But at that point in time, I think that you take, and after you process everything, you say, "Hey, I'm just gonna move on." But at that time that you recognize those empty words, how were you feeling right at that time? Because I don't think right at that time you like, I'm moving on. I think that
at that time I'm feeling like, okay, this person is not valuing me. I bring a lot to the table. I bring humor, fun. I also bring smartness and intuitiveness and all that good stuff that comes along with just making it in this world today. And if that person isn't valuing me, whether it's a friend, co-worker, whoever it is, cousin, sister, brother, if they're not valuing who I am, then just leave me alone. Find somebody that find your person.
I mean, I agree. I feel like at the end of the day, when it comes to, first of all, I think as much as we want to, feel good about when people tell us they're going to do something, I feel like we have to expect the worst too. We do. We can't have these high expectations because, people will fail us. So, it's us. We have to also be accountable as far as how we feel too, and say, you know what? Okay, I heard you. I know you said you're going to pay my car note this month. That's cool. But let me make sure I got something put aside just in case you don't do it, because you might not fall through. You might fall through on your thing. So at the end of the day, I feel like you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I need to make sure that I'm good. I'm prepared, regardless of what you say. Because, hey, if you say you're going to pay it, cool. That means I got something extra for me.
But, Dominique, I think you're coming from a standpoint of being single, right? As a single person.
No, not at all.
Are you in a relationship with this person's telling you that they're going to pay your car note?
I mean, I have been, yeah.
It could have been, it could have been that's your financial arrangement. Right.
It could have been that. Well, in this particular case, I'll use the daycare for an example. Okay. Well, I'm gonna pay half. I'm gonna pay half of daycare. You pay half. Okay, cool. Well, for me, I know that I'm always gonna have your half too, just in case it fall through. Because at the end of the day, whether you tell me you're gonna do something or not, and not saying I don't want to believe you, but just in case, I'm gonna make sure I got that. I got your half too.
Right.
And if you decide to pay it, guess what? I got that half for myself, or I keep it for next month, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like at the end of the day, open words and expectations, they kind of go hand in hand. Because like I said, I can tell you something, and yeah, it may sound good, but I need to, especially when it comes from a financial standpoint, I need to make sure that the bases are covered.
Right.
Or say, for instance, you don't have it. Just be honest and say, hey, I know I said I was going to do such. I know I said I was going to pay half, but I had to get the car fixed. The window got busted out, or whatever the situation is. I ain't have enough hours. Just be honest. So then now you give somebody the chance to figure out what's the next step for themselves.
So let me ask this question. Let me throw this question out on the table. Do you think that people give you empty words out of fear of losing you, whether it's a marriage or a relationship, that people don't want to lose their marriage, so they say empty words or things that they can't uphold to because they don't want to lose you, or they don't want to lose the relationship they're in?
Oh, for sure.
Well, one of the things that Lamar taught me was that you can lose stuff and get it back. Mm-hmm. So I used to be afraid of losing, and I think that's what happened with my first marriage. I was so scared, and I remember standing in our kitchen, which was beautiful, and I said, where am I going to go? This is all I know. Mm-hmm. I mean, with tears, like, this is all I know, and where am I going to go? Where am I going to live? Mm-hmm. And it worked out. But It was so freaking hard. But I'm not afraid of losing again and getting it back. I'm not afraid of walking away if I feel like I'm not valued. I've actually, every year I get on my cell phone. If I ain't talked to you in that year, I delete you from my phone. Mm-hmm. One of my girlfriends said that was not a good idea. So I decided not to do that every year. So she's like, you never know who you might need. Do not delete people off your phone.
I don't delete people off my phone.
So I'm that person. I'm the person who's like, you know what? This person just doesn't value who I am. Delete.
Now I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't delete people because you never in the walk of life, you never know when that person may have to come back into your life. I agree with you to the point that, you know what? I haven't talked to you in a year. That means I haven't reached out to you. You haven't reached out to me. Because if you haven't talked to somebody in a year, it goes both ways.
It does.
It goes both ways. So it means that I haven't talked to you in a year. You haven't talked to me in a year, right? But the thing is this: for some odd reason, God could bring that person back in your life for some odd reason, or something that you need. You never know. But I don't delete people. Because you never know.
Oh, I delete people.
Okay, I mean, everybody has that choice.
I mean, yeah.
I think if somebody truly mishandled you, if somebody like Dorshell say truly disrespected you, yeah, I have no reason to keep this person around. Right. But in the same token, if it's a person I just haven't reached out to them in a year and they haven't reached out to me in a year, I'm not going to delete them. That's just me.
Right.
I get it. I don't know. If they mishandled me and mistreated me, you're good as deleted.
Right.
It's just like my oldest daughter, we talk sometimes. And, like I say, it's very different as your child gets older and your conversation starting to change with them. And I know a lot of times her and I talk, and she'll say, Daddy, you have to teach people how to treat you. Mm-hmm. You have to teach them, because I found so much value in that because a lot of people don't know how to treat you.
Right.
It's just like Dorshell just said, hey, I'm the person, I'm going to bring the laughter, I'm going to bring the fun and this, that, and the other, and this is what I bring. So if you want me around, then it's going to be plenty of laughs and giggle and loudness and all that. So I'm telling you, this is who I am, right? So, it's the same thing about, like I say, empty words of dealing with a person that, like you say, I'll tell you, hey, we're going to meet for dinner and don't show up. Don't even give you a reason why they don't show up, or somebody at work or your spouse or your mate or whatever situation you're in giving you these empty words. Yeah. Then you got to say, hey, you can't do that to me. You can't do that to me. And that's going about trying to teach people how to treat you. And I think that sometimes we all need lessons on how to treat people. Because we self-preservation make us think sometimes narrow-minded, I think, because we looking at our situation, we looking at, like you were just saying, hey, I'm going to make sure I got mine and yours in case you don't come up with yours, right? And the thing about it is that those empty words made me make this decision, that because at one time I didn't worry about whether I was going to get yours because I know it was good as gold.
Right.
But now you give me these empty words and you don't give me the reason why you don't have yours. And like you say, anything could happen. Hey, I got short this week at work.
Right.
I had to buy tires for the car.
Right.
Can you cover me? This, that, and other. But at least the truth is laid on the table.
Right.
And it's not the empty words. Oh, I got you. Now it's time to pay. And you coming up with all this hemming and hawing.
If you say anything, right, for that matter.
I don't need to hear the hemming and hawing. Now I got to start thinking differently because your situation kept being the same.
Right.
The cycle. You started this cycle. And when you start that cycle, you know what? It keeps looping and looping back. So now I got to think differently.
Right. And not only do I not trust you, but the respect is lost because you're not a person of your words. So for me, my respect is like, yeah, I don't.
He ain't gonna come through.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
Or she.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, the only way the words aren't open is if we being honest.
Right, and I think, like I said in the beginning, I think these empty words make you build a distrust for people. It makes you feel like this person isn't loyal.
Right.
It makes you feel like this person, as Dorshell words say, is a habitual liar. So you can't keep feeding people empty words and expect for them to feel like you feel.
Exactly.
And then they'll get mad at you if you like, why are you questioning me? Because you think I'm lying to you?
Right.
Well, you've done it before.
Right. Exactly.
Even in the beginning of stages, that's when I think a lot of empty words come into play when you're trying to get to know a person, and we've then heard a lot of good ones, and sometimes you have to ask for discernment to see through those things.
Yes, you do.
Because at times in life, when, especially in today's society, a lot of people are looking for love, looking for a mate and stuff, and they get blindsided because people have become so good at manipulating. They've become so good at making you believe in what they say. And the thing about it is, like Dorshell and I had a conversation one time, and I was saying that consistency is not necessarily every day. Consistency is about doing what you say you're going to do. That's what consistency is about. So if you say, like she said earlier, hey, I'm going to exercise Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so you have to be and come consistent about that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And if you don't become consistent about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you're not being consistent.
Right.
Or instead of saying the dates, I should have said 3 times a week.
Right.
Right? So then it wouldn't be so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but at any rate, it's hard.
Yeah.
Right.
But even if you say 3 times a week, you still have to be consistent about those 3 times.
Exactly.
It's a commitment. It's like going into a relationship, going into a marriage. There's a certain amount of commitment that we expect out of that next person. We don't go into relationships or marriage and expecting empty words out of people.
Right.
We expect sincerity, and love, that you tell me you love me, that I honestly believe that. Now, a year, 2 or 3 into it, and then I'm starting to find out different, then I question, did you ever really love me? You know, because people love for different. I mean, a lot of times, and I speak on this a lot during the podcast, is social media, how corrupt social media is to relationships, you know, because people can make you believe that they're somebody, and they're really not that person.
No, they're really not that person.
Well, let me ask y'all this question. Since you brought up social media, have you ever been on social media and you see these couples that's just always just loving all day? How does that really make you feel when you're in your toxic relationship? Is this is what they're doing on social media real, or do you think that they just perpetrating to keep their likes, keep their social?
I mean, so there was a couple that I followed. They're no longer together, but I love them, and
exactly.
And I think most of it because money was tied into it. So that's what I would say when it comes to relationship. But when I honestly now, and no, I'm not in a relationship anymore. So I still have faith. I have hope for love. I'm a hopeless romantic. So for me, it don't matter. If it's on there and, oh, they cute, it's cute. I don't really say, oh, well, they probably not happy. I don't say that. I'm just like, that's going to be me one day. Even in that still moment. I don't know what else they got going on. But, yeah, me and my husband, we going to be, pushing our stroller with the kids and all of us. And we all going to be parading at, Disney World. For me, it gives me hope when I see that. Because I know
it's possible.
It's possible.
Well, I look at it like from this perspective. I look at it from the perspective of you see these couples, some of them we even know personally. It's just like advice. When somebody gives you advice, you take what you can use and apply it. Whatever you can't use, you throw it away.
Right.
So when you see these couples online and they living this grand life and they're always dressed up, going here, going there, and it raises your expectations of what your relationship should be like. But in the same token, you have to take what you can use from that because financially, your situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mentally, physically, your situation.
Right.
You should know and be so in tune to your partner that, you know what, and I just use this as an example, that joke ain't walking down the street with me swinging hands. That's just not who he is. You know what I mean? That does not mean he does not love you or care about you like this social media couple.
Right.
But we got our own thing. Hey, I know when we do walk down the street, he not going to let me walk on the curbside. He going to make me walk on the inside.
Right.
And the only thing is still he's showing his way, but he ain't holding hands, swinging hands with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it just depends on, I think it depends on when you're seeing things like that. Are you seeing it to be like, oh, that's so cute? Or are you seeing it to be, or are you seeing it to compare?
Do I want to be like that?
Or am I comparing what I have to what I think may be? Because again, this is a still moment. This is a picture, or maybe it's a 30-second video. But then we don't know because she could have cussed him out. He could have punched her in the face before they did all of that, or after that. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
All we know is it's all cute.
Right.
So so for me personally, I just look at it as like there is hope for me in the land of love. I think that's what it does. Yeah. Because, I follow all the Black Love pages. I love it. I love seeing the wedding dresses and, the food and when they all going out. I love it.
I did all that, Dominique. I did all that. And then I actually met somebody from Black Love. And they was, not in love at all, for real.
I believe it.
And they told the whole thing is all staged and it's not real.
Right.
I hate to say it, but
that's fine. But I'm not saying that in real life people can't have black love because they can.
Oh, I think people can have black. I surely believe. I just believe that people have to do what they know how to do in the capacity that they're in. That you know what you have working for you may not work for me.
Right.
What I have working for me may not work for you. But then in the same token, it might be vice versa. You might like, hey, I'm going to take part of what y'all do because now I'm going to implement that in my relationship, and it works. It helps out a lot of situations. It helped our situation of communicating. It's like a lot of times I know new couples, new people that's being married, and when they see a elderly couple, the first thing they ask them, "What did y'all do to stay together so long?" That's the first thing they ask. How did y'all stay together so long? You know, and I'm quite sure it was some empty words in that together.
Right.
It was some battling. It was some highs, some lows, some in between. But you know what? The most that you hear them say, or I hear them say, "I let her be her, and I let him be him." That's what they say.
Right.
Most of the elderly couples, like, I don't try to change her, she don't try to change me. And I think that a lot of people try to get in relationships and change who you are.
Right.
They say they can deal with it, but they really can't. And then they start coming with all this emptiness, this is lying and being who they're really not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or I want to capture you because you're beautiful.
Right. And,
you know what?
Are you saying that they lie because the other person's trying to change them to be who they want them to be? So in turn they just lie.
Or they feel like I'm gonna do
what I want to do.
Or I'm going to be the person that I think you want, right? Even though I know that is not who I am. But I'm going to make you believe that I am that person, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to feed you that. I'm going to feed you that until I get you to where I want you.
Right.
And then I'm going to just rip the Band-Aid off.
I'm going to show you who I really am.
Yeah, let me show
and
you
that's
who
what
I really am.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's that romance stage. I'm going to romance you. And then I'm going to really show you who I am.
I'm going to take the mask off.
So did that mean that they lied the whole time they was romantic?
Yeah.
They sent their representative.
They were shooting empty words. And that's why I say a lot of times you got to look for discernment. You got to especially in today's climate, you got to peep.
Yes.
You really got to peep who people are.
Yes.
Because people are so good at it now.
Yes.
You know, people are so good at manipulation. So I mean, it's just like you sit down and look at the news or you hear these things about, hey, even in your position, you know, you see it hit. I was dealing with somebody. I never seen him. We was talking on the phone and stuff, and they got me for $10,000. What? I'd be like, what? But they're good at what they do.
Right.
It's just like people build relationships off of just talking across the phone. I love him or I love her. You've never ever seen this person.
A good example of what you're talking about, and I watch it all the time, which I probably need to not watch, but Catfish TV. Mm-hmm. So I watch Catfish, and you see people get catfished all the time, and then you do the background check. Mm-hmm. So I try to do the background check prior to getting into a relationship. I did do some background stuff.
So again, like I said, that's what leads to empty words, because once you really find out what it is, and you know, you sit back and say, you lied to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You lied to me. You know, you carried me for, and part of it I have to put on us, because you know what? We want these relationships. We want a great relationship, and we believe in this person, you know? And you believe in this person until, like Dominique said, they pull that Band-Aid off. Now you see who they really are. They pull a mask off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you think that somebody should come into the relationship and be like, so Dominique, do you feel like the guy should come into the relationship and say like, hey, you know what? I am a serial cheater. I used to cheat in my past relationships. I'm a cheater. And I mean, should they become that?
So you saying should they tell you some? Should they tell you their weaknesses?
I mean, like, look, you know, but girl, you know, I see you and you see me, and we can vibe together. But you know, back in the day, I used to be that person. I'm not that person anymore. I've been healed.
Well, let me say this. I'm not asking.
I got respect for a person like that.
Tell me.
They don't normally do that.
Ain't nobody gonna say that.
But I mean, nobody's gonna say it. But I'm just saying. I got respect for that. That you say, "Hey, Dorshell, you know what? I know I've had a rough path. You know, I used to cheat all the time. But you know what? I've grown. I've matured. You know, I'm really into you. let's see if we can make this work.
Right. So see me, I go about it in another way. I start asking certain questions because now I need to hear what you got to say, and it got to be one of them things where I don't give you time to think about it, right? So I'm dating, and I'll say, oh, okay, well, how do you think you failed your last few relationships? You don't blame it on her. How do you think you caused the breakdown in your relationships? Because now, if they all sound the same, now I know what your problem was. You know what I mean? So you don't got to say, hey, Dominique, I'm a serial cheater. Oh, well, I know because you told me you stepped out on her 3 times and you got somebody pregnant in this relationship. Oh, okay, yeah, I see how this about to go.
But, it's like they say.
And then you had the option of no.
When you have a person.
And not to be judgy. Let me say that, too.
When you have a person, and sometimes you have to look, like you say, you ask them those certain questions, then you have to look and say, is one common denominator in the whole situation, and that's you.
Right. So then my next question is, well, what you think you're going to do in this one different? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I find out this, and this is how it's going to happen. So how do you know you're ready for me at this point in your life? Because in your past, this is what you're notorious for doing. So right now, why do you think you are?
Interview time.
Yeah. Now I need to know. Now
and that's what people have to do. It's just like if you go on a job interviews you to see if you're the right fit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can shoot all the emptiness you want to them,
sure.
and they got things in place where they figure out whether you're lying to me or not. You know what I mean? Like, you see some of these things, they make you take this test online. If you're working with your coworker and you saw them steal $5,000 worth of stuff, would you tell?
Right.
Most people going to say, yeah, I'm going to tell. But in realization,
right.
I ain't telling that joker. What am I going to tell on him for?
Right.
You know what I mean? Most people won't, but the clue is to say, yeah, I would tell.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Or if you were good friends, if you was you had a couple and you were really, really great friends with them, and you saw the wife out with another dude, would you tell on her? No, that ain't my business. I ain't telling on her. You know, there's different things.
But I'm gonna screenshot it.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna take a picture for real.
I'm gonna have a receipt.
For real, I wouldn't tell. But I would definitely have it in my pocket.
I ain't gonna lie, because I want my friends to tell me.
What if he meant more to you than she did? What if you kind of like, I like her, but I don't like her? And
I ain't gotta say what I seen. All I'm gonna say is, just
be careful.
Watch your back. Just be careful.
Right.
Just be careful. Because it's not my place to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, girl, I seen him and he opened the car door for. Listen. I was out the other night and I saw your boy. All I'm gonna say is, be careful.
And that's gonna be another topic we're gonna talk about. If you saw,
okay.
You know what I mean. But we're gonna talk about that. But just having this topic today of talking about empty words, I think that people have to set back and become prideful and meaningful in the things that they say to people to make it have sincerity to it. Not being repetitive or saying the same thing over and over, because I think that when you keep doing the negative thing over and over and you keep apologizing, you create the distrust. I don't believe you're sincere about your apology.
And a lot of times
I don't believe that you're sincere about your apology. I don't believe that, you get mad at me and you say nasty things to me, then you turn around and tell me how much you love and care about me. We gotta find a way to work through these things, and find out how to become more sincere in stabilizing our relationships. You know what I mean? I know that we talked about a show before about honesty, and most people are saying, well, you have to start off honest. You have to start off honest in order for it to become honesty. But I still say one thing that a lot of people struggle with is if a person's going to be honest with you, like Dorshell, you just said, if he said, hey, I'm going to come to you and tell you, hey, I was a serial mess around guy. I just messed around all the time. But that person being honest with you, but can you handle that honesty, and what do you do with that honesty? And your thing was, I'm going to ask certain key questions to ask him, what are you going to do differently in this relationship so you don't end up being back out there again? What is different? I mean, so.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I also think that it's not always verbally. Sometimes it has to be how your actions are. Mm-hmm. So if you acting shady, something shady's going on. Mm-hmm. Or you act in a certain kind of way, you say you love somebody, but your actions are not showing love, then that's a get out free card for me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna just take this subject and touch bases on it again somewhere down the road. We've talked about so many different things here on People Think About It, and we want you guys to continue to listen to us and reach out to us at peoplethinkaboutit.com. We want you to know that our show is every Wednesday, posted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We're going to really start trying to go live so we can get some feedback from other people other than the cast members here. And we're going to try to go live and talk about certain things and touch on certain subjects. We go weekly, so listen to us at 8 o'clock. We do take donations. We have T-shirts, merch. So we just hope y'all guys keep listening to us at People Think About It and at peoplethinkaboutit.com. Check us out. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening to People Think About It.